Welcome to RedHawk Baseball Weekly. This week, Coach Smiley back with us to talk some Miami baseball as the Redhawks have been on a hot streak a little bit in MAC play. Miami won another series this past weekend against Kent State, winning the rubber game 9-7 to take 2 of 3 against the Golden Flashes. Redhawks fell in a tight midweek game on national TV yesterday, 4-3 against Kentucky on the road. They'll hit the road once more coming up this week for a Thursday through Saturday set against Central Michigan. Coach, guys have won another series. Believe that's 7 straight for you guys in terms of series wins and haven't lost one yet in MAC play. You guys keep finding ways to get them done. It feels like that Sunday game felt like it was probably going to be your toughest test potentially of the season in terms of rubber games to that point. And you guys came through with a 9-7 victory. Got a little bit close there at the end, but Carson Byers, who's leading the league in ERA, shut the door. Where do you think your team is at? We still got about a month to go in the season, but you guys have looked like you're one of the classes of the MAC this year.
Yeah, we're doing a good job, Luke. Like you said, we're finding ways to win, and that's the sign of good teams. Good teams just find a way to win, whether or not they're not hitting it well. The pitching side steps up, or if they're not pitching it well, the hitting side steps up. So that is a sign of good teams. They find a way to win, and when those good teams start clicking on all cylinders, watch out, because I've as coaches we have kind of stressed that I don't really think we have played our best baseball yet. Actually, I know we haven't. You've seen glimpses of it where we're pitching and hitting at the same time, and we're really tough to beat then. So I think we're doing a good job of kind of weathering the storm, so to speak, and still getting wins, and that's the sign of a good team. And whenever we can start clicking on all cylinders, which we will, we're going to be really, really tough to beat. Really tough to beat because we can really swing it up and down our lineup, and our pitching just keeps getting better and better and better, especially on the weekends. And once we start, putting a whole game together, which it's coming, we're gonna be really tough to beat.
Looking at the midweek game yesterday, midweeks have been a little bit of a struggle for this team this year, but probably against your best opponent you've played this season. You guys put forth one of your better midweek efforts, ultimately a 4-3 loss against Kentucky on the road, but going down there and competing, coming from behind, you guys scored 3 runs in the top of the sixth inning to tie the game before ultimately falling in the bottom of the ninth against Kentucky. But kind of on a quick turnaround, having to play Sunday to Tuesday to Thursday. I know that, unlimited rest maybe for your guys. What did you think of the effort last night?
It was a good effort all around. It was a good college baseball game. That was two good Division I teams going at it in a midweek game on a short week for both teams, and they were the home team. They got the last at bat. You don't want to get in those tight games against quality opponents while you're on the road because they have the final at bat. And they scratched one there in the bottom of the ninth. But it was a good college baseball game. It could have gone either way. We took advantage of most of our scoring opportunities. We did leave a few runners on base, but that's a credit to, it's SEC pitching. They were doing a good job. Their pitchers were doing a good job, as did ours. Our pitching and defense was pretty solid last night, especially Ahmad Harajli coming out of the pen. Him and Charlie both did really well coming out of the pen, as did Nick DeMonica, the batter that he faced. So, last night was just a good quality Division I college baseball game. Our guys competed. They kept it close, and, it was close in the middle innings, and anything can happen. So it was a good game. And unfortunately, we were on the wrong side of it. But I think our guys can take something away from that, even though that we lost. It's hey, we can compete with anybody. That program was in Omaha 11 months ago. You know, um, so I think they're seeing that even when we're not playing our best baseball, we can still compete with anybody out there.
You talked about your pitching a little bit in the game yesterday, and some guys that have kind of seen some time on the weekends, but trying to get them right in these midweek games a little bit. And really saw four guys that turned in some good efforts between Benko, Dierf, DeMonica, and Harajli. And with three midweek games left on the schedule, and you guys from a pitching standpoint still maybe trying to figure a few things out, how important are those games for you guys to try and get your guys some confidence when, ultimately we know in MAC play and in the MAC tournament, you're going to have to dip pretty deep into your bullpen when you're playing your third, fourth game of the weekend.
Hey, you just hit the nail right on the head, man. Those games are crucial um, because of the MAC tournament. To for Ahmad to go out there and do what he did last night. If you can kind of in your mind just picture that not being Kentucky but being in the tournament, that all of a sudden kind of propels you to a conference tournament victory. A championship. If you can get that kind of performance out of a guy that really hasn't thrown a ton on the weekends for us, as well as Charlie. So those guys they're not seeing a lot of weekend time, but their time is coming, and that time that is coming will have been earned by their performances during the midweek games.
This past weekend, you guys swung it pretty well in the couple of wins, scored 5 runs on Friday, and that was enough, right? And then kind of a back and forth affair that you guys came out on top in on Sunday, but made a few lineup changes. You saw Keenan Proctor get into the game during the weekend, and you also saw Jake Verlock get a start for you guys as well. And this late in the season, I think there aren't all teams in the country that are willing to insert guys that haven't seen much time into the lineup for a weekend conference game. So, kind of what went into those decisions, and what did you think from those guys?
Oh, I've got this quarter on my desk, and I just flip it, and I've got uh, Verlac on one side, Proctor on the other. No, we the right field spot has been a revolving door. It's somebody just we're waiting on somebody, and this is no secret. We have told the team the same thing, or that group of hitters the same thing. We're waiting on somebody to take that right field spot and just say, "Hey, it's mine." Don't even worry about putting anybody else in there or giving anybody else opportunities. I'm taking it. It's mine. And really, Keenan was the next guy up. He got the start at Cincinnati in the midweek the week before, and that game ended up being an unofficial game. It didn't count, but he had 2 hits and did really well. So we put him out there again on Friday night and did well. And then inserted Jake on Sunday, and there's something to be said for having guys in there that the other team knows nothing about. They can't prep for them. There's not much of a scouting report on them, so they've got to kind of figure it out on the fly. And fortunately for us, as they were trying to figure those guys out, they got some big hits for us, and ultimately, honestly, probably won us 2 games because without both of those guys' RBIs, Keenan in the first inning on Friday, and which we ended up winning by 1 run. And then Jake in the later innings he had the hit in the first inning, and then later innings on Sunday, that 2 run, 2 out RBI was a huge hit. Huge, actually, it was 1 out, but no, it was 2 outs. RBI was a huge hit, and we ended up, they made that run in the top of the ninth, and those runs proved to be really big. So I think that there's something to be said for plugging some guys in there that the other team knows nothing about. Yeah.
Talking about scouting reports, shifting our attention to this weekend, you've got Central Michigan, a team currently occupying that coveted sixth spot in the MAC
Mm-hmm.
standings. Again, still a lot of time left in the regular season, but that's the place you got to be, sixth or higher if you want to be playing in the postseason. Sit kind of middle of the road in terms of offense, pitching, and defense, but they steal a lot of bags. They're a notoriously scrappy team. So, what's kind of your thoughts about Central Michigan as you head on the road this week on a short week?
Well, you're kind of right. Look, they're kind of a jack of all trades type of team, master of none. They do everything well. I don't know if they do anything great, but they do everything well. Looks like they defended enough. They do try to bunt. They try to run. Looks like they're defending the steal decent. Um, and they pitch it decent. Not bad, not great. They hit it, not bad, not great. So they're the definition of a team that can beat anybody on any given day. And we're going to have our work cut out for us. So it's a big conference weekend this weekend for sure because they're scrapping to try to stay in that race, like you said, to be sixth or higher. So every game is a huge game, not only for them but for us also because right now our program hasn't been in this spot for a while, but we're scrapping to get that one or two spot for the bye because the way our tournament format is, the bye is a really big deal.
Certainly. RedHawks in action on the road against Central Michigan this weekend. Again, because of the Easter holiday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, short weekend for this RedHawks team who will head up a day early to Mount Pleasant. Games will be on at 3 o'clock on Thursday and Friday, 1 o'clock on Saturday, and can be watched on Chippewa's All Access. Coach, best of luck this weekend, and thanks so much for the time.
Hey, thanks, Luke.